StraightallDay.com.
You are tuned in to the right place at the right time. This is the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves you to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together into one package. What you get is the mindset, the method, the philosophy, the book, the show, known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic, I'm going to share the most important business principles that I know. I was surprised to realize that I had never actually done an episode where I consolidated all of this stuff together. But what I'm going to be doing very soon, maybe by the time you hear this, we'll see, is I'm going to be putting a bunch of these episodes where I've been talking business. I've talked about it from a lot of different angles here, especially over the last year or so. Putting these all together into an audio course that will be available for purchase, but we'll get to that when it's time to get to that. But what I'm going to talk about here today is how many principles I have here. 7 specific principles I'm going to share here about business that I've learned over the years from selling online, mostly online, almost everything that I've sold, some things that I've learned from other business people whom I respect, people whom I've met, people I have read from, taken their courses, learned from, and all things that I've actually partaken in myself. So I know that these are actually real, and I'm going to give you the explanations behind each one here today, each of these principles that I have. And I don't need to give any more run up to this. Since we got 7 points to get to, we might as well get right to it. Today's topic, once again, the most important business principles that I know that you should understand and start applying to your business. And any of you who thinks maybe you're not in business, understand that life itself is a business. If money is being exchanged, then it's business. That's what business is. It's the exchange of resources between people. You give something of value, you get something of value. That is business. So every one of us is in business in some way, shape, or form. You want to do more or better business, or a combination of both, pay attention to these principles here today. Point number 1, reinvesting in yourself and reinvesting in your business. Investment is the most important thing that you have to do to take yourself to the next level in anything. You want to become a better basketball player, you got to invest in going to the gym and working on your game, investing in getting your body in the right shape, investing in finding the players who are better than you that you can train with and play against and ask questions of, so that you can learn more about the game and you can improve your game so you can perform. Investing in going to the places where the best games are happening and or where the decision makers are watching, so you can show your game and get yourself to that next level, whatever that next level may be. If you don't make the investment in getting yourself seen, heard, and known, even if you made all the investments in having game, you may never get the opportunity that you want. So investing is not just investing in the things that you like investing in, or the things that are available to you right now, or the things that are convenient for you to invest in. You got to invest all around in what you're doing so that everything is working. You're running a business, you got to invest in whatever your product service is that you're offering. You got to invest in getting yourself seen by whomever it is you want to purchase yourself. You got to invest in whatever adjustments need to be made to your offerings and to whom you're targeting with your audience and the way that you're talking to your audience. You got to invest in getting more knowledge and information. So maybe you can come up with a better offer. Maybe you can get a different angle for who you should be targeting, why you should be targeting them. These are all investments that you need to be making. And there are 100 more investments that you could be making that I could bring up here, but I'm not going to give you that entire list right now. In episode number 609, the topic was the 5 forms of investment: time, money, attention, energy, focus. Look at yourself and look at your business. And I made this episode specifically for people who are in business or you plan on going into business. But everything that I say here can metaphorically be applied to any type of business, including life itself. With those 5 forms of investment, again, they are time, money, attention, energy, and focus. How much of each have you put into your business since the inception of your business? And are you coming up short on any of them? And that may be a direct clue as to why whatever is happening in your business or is not happening is what it is. Have you not put enough time in? Or have you not put enough money in? Are you not paying enough attention? Are you not focusing? Are you not giving enough energy to what you're doing? If you have ever given all 5 to something and then you stop, That's when things can go awry. A relationship is a business. Did you stop giving time to your relationship? That may be a reason why you're having some issues right now. Any type of relationship, business partnership, intimate relationship, family relationship, a friendship. If you stop giving time to a relationship when you were giving time before, that relationship's going to suffer. You stop putting, we could even say money in some ways, attention. Are you not paying attention anymore? Are you not focused whenever you're giving whatever time you're giving to that relationship? Are you not giving energy to it? Are you just not trying as hard as you used to try? All of these can cause your business to fall apart. And you probably have some area of your life where you have seen this happen to yourself because for whatever reason, the investments stopped coming. Maybe you started devoting your resources to something else, and then that thing you stopped giving resources to, it started to fall apart. There's no magic tricks here in life, people. You must reinvest consistently in yourself and in your business to continue getting better. Businesses grow when the people in charge put more time, put more money, more strategy into what they're doing. Usually those three work in unison: strategy, money, and time. Hiring staff is an investment because you had to give them something, but you're getting something. Getting equipment for your business is an investment. If you work online and you buy a new laptop, it may cost you $1,000 or more, but that's an investment that you're making. You're willing to pay because you know that that new laptop is going to help you do more business. Investing in learning, taking an online course, going to a seminar, hiring someone who can teach you. All of those are investments that you're making. Putting a system in place. Putting a system in place may not cost you that much money. Maybe it will. Maybe you'll need to get with people to do it. Maybe not. Maybe you can do it on your own, but it's going to take time, right? Putting a system in place takes time. All of those are investments that will make your business better, but these are investments that you must be willing to make and investments that you are making on a consistent basis. Like we talked about in yesterday's episode with cardiovascular exercise for your mind and for your body. You can't do it one time and then say, all right, I'm good. I'll never do it again. You must continuously do it over and over and over again. How often are you making investments in your business? Ask yourself, and then look and see where those investments are. And here's a way you can do it in reverse. Look and see where you're getting the most results. I guarantee you that's where you're making the most investments. And take those same principles that made you get the most results in area X and apply it to the areas where you need more result that you're not getting right now. I guarantee you there's something missing. Point number 2. Today's topic and the most important business principles that I want to share with you here. Number 2. In business, any form of business, and this one is really more about money than it is about business, you must make money. You must generate revenue, income, more than one way. This is a very important principle you have to learn. You should be applying. I won't even say have to learn. You should be applying as soon as possible. I don't care what you do for a living. Maybe you're not doing anything for a living right now. Maybe you're not quite living so much right now. But you must make money more than one way. Why is this? I've read that the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income, meaning they are making money at least 7 different ways. But why though? Why does a person need to make money 7 different ways, 5 different ways? Why do you need to make money more than one way? Why? Well, here's the practical reason. If anything ever happens to the one way that you're making money from, even if that one way is something that you love, even if it's producing exactly the money that you need, maybe even more than you need, even if it seems like it's going to go on forever, if anything was to ever happen to that one way that you're making money, you want to have some other ways in place. You don't want to be dead in the water saying, damn, I was making money that one way, but now that money's not coming in anymore, and I have no idea what else I'm going to do. I guess I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs until that one way is working again. That might not be the best strategy. Or if something happens to you in which you just can't get money that one way anymore. For example, an athlete, you can be making a lot of money playing a sport, but at some point you can't play that sport anymore because sports are usually those careers end relatively soon compared to the average industry, most careers, right? Sports careers are pretty short. So what are you going to do now? You can't play the sport anymore. Nobody wants to hire you anymore to play the sport for a living and make money. How else are you going to make money? Hopefully you have some ideas and maybe even you have some other things in place. Since you had some time on your hands as an athlete, since you had some money to throw around as an athlete, hopefully you have some other things in place. Anything happens to the one way you make money, I don't care what that one way is. You could be selling cars, you could be podcasting, you could be an athlete, you could be a school teacher, you could run your own Fortune 500 company, whatever it is. If something happens to it, you should have another way already in place for you to continue to make money. No tactic, industry, or job is bulletproof. I think we've all seen that over the last 20 years of life, we can see that there are companies that seemed too big to fail, as the book said. There's a book that's titled that. You haven't read it, I suggest you read it. There are industries that people think are just recession-proof, bulletproof. People will always spend money in this industry, and technically you can be right. There are industries in which people are always going to spend money. Doesn't mean they're going to spend a lot of money, though. People can spend money in an industry, but not as much as they used to. People can spend money at a company, but maybe not as much as they used to. And no tactic. If you're doing something right now, you have some system in place and it's working pretty well for you right now, it doesn't mean it's going to keep working forever. It's not bulletproof. So you want to diversify the ways you make money, but understand that they can still be symbiotic. What symbiotic means is each one serves the other. So for example, if you're in real estate, you buy and sell houses or apartment buildings. For example, you can teach classes on buying and selling apartment buildings in the real estate industry. You can write books about buying and selling the way that you do. You can have a podcast with advertising to give you revenue for whatever your topic happens to be. A topic that I'm going to be doing coming up soon is that of anything that you do, how to actually diversify in it business-wise. Or I might actually make that and just send it straight to selling it. I might put it out on a podcast. I might not. Stay tuned. You'll find out when it's available. You'll know what's going on, why, and how you can access it, whether it comes out here or somewhere else. But the second point is you must diversify the way that you're making money. Make money more than one way so that, first of all, if anything happens to the main way that you make money, you have other ways of making money. And another reason that I didn't even have in my notes that I want to share here, if you're doing well, making money one way, there are other ways you can supplement what you're already making that would not cost you too much more time, effort, or energy, and it will actually give you more revenue. And it will give you a larger footprint so that you can actually reach more people. So you can bring them all back to whatever that main thing may be, or you can serve them whatever that other thing you're doing is, you can serve them in that space. For example, let's say a TV company like NBC, they were doing pretty good running advertising on TV, but then the internet came along and the NBC still has the same quality product what they do on TV. I think in general, let's just assume they had the same quality product. So let's not say we're sure that they do, but let's say they do, okay? The internet comes along and now not as many people are watching television. So now NBC is probably not making as much money through advertising revenue that they used to, but they still have all these people working there. They still have all these products. What can they do? Well, we could take our same TV content and we can publish it to the internet, and people can watch it on the internet, and we can get the ad revenue from that, and we can start selling subscriptions to some of our shows instead of people getting it through cable, because not as many people have cable. People are cutting the cords. So that's another way we can serve people. We can have all of our stories get published to these free aggregating sites like a Facebook, like a YouTube, like a Twitter, like Instagram. I don't know if they're using Instagram. Probably they are. And that'll bring more eyeballs back to what we're doing. We need to send everybody to the internet, and we can put our show, break our 1 hour shows down into 10-minute clips and have them watch those videos. Then we'll do it that way. But they're diversifying the way that they're getting themselves out there to people, because people have diversified the way that they're getting their news and information. So NBC has to adjust. So even though they're doing good with their main thing, they found other ways to give value to people, other ways to get seen by people who otherwise may not have been paying attention to them, and they figure out how to make money from it. Maybe there's not a clear way to make money from what you're doing when you first start out, but as long as you're doing it and you're doing it well and you're providing value, you have an audience of people who are paying attention, and you keep looking, you strategize, you invest in learning, you'll figure out a way to generate more revenue from what you're doing. So whatever your main thing is, if you do have a main thing, that is, make sure you are looking for ways to diversify all the time. And even once you have diversified, don't get comfortable. All right, don't rest on your laurels, because things will change. We know that change is happening at a very rapid rate these days. So don't ever sit back thinking everything's going to stay just as it is, especially when things are working in your favor. I guarantee you they won't stay. Point number 3. Today's topic is important business principles you need to understand. All your money, your revenue, when I say your money, I'm talking about the money that you make on this point. It cannot be tied to your physical presence. In other words, the ways that you make money, this goes hand in hand with what I said in point number 2. The way that you make money cannot be 100% dependent on you physically doing something. Now, this one is somewhat self-explanatory, but I'm not going to leave it as self-explanatory, because otherwise I wouldn't have a podcast if everything was self-explanatory. This is the most important. for me, piece of business advice that I ever heard. First time I heard somebody say this, I was probably about 20 years old, maybe 19 years old. I was in college. I was reading a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I mentioned many times. Robert Kiyosaki, through the story, he explained this. That if your physical presence is required for you to make money, then that means, first of all, you can only make money one way, because as far as we know right now, as of today's recording, a human being can only be in one physical place at a time. And we can only do, generally speaking, one job at a time. We can only focus on one thing at a time. So if your physical presence is required for you to make money, then that means you're only making money one way. This is the most important thing that I heard, and it set me on the path to building an online business. Before, it wasn't a mainstream thing to have online businesses back in the year. We're talking 2000, 2001. The internet did exist, but most of us weren't using it the way that we're using it now. Definitely wasn't an everyday thing. We didn't have smartphones just yet. People were using the internet and they were selling things. There was e-commerce going on, but it wasn't anything like it is now back then. And I wasn't thinking anything like the majority of the stuff that I know about online business now. I was not thinking about that stuff back then. Didn't even exist, a majority of it back then. At least the ease for which you could publish things didn't exist back then the way that it does now. But it planted a seed in my mind. All right, let me figure out how I can make money even when I'm not physically there doing the thing, whatever it is that I'm selling, whatever it is that I'm exchanging resources for. And how can I do it in more than one place at the same time? So now, how can I have more than one stream of income? Maybe you love what you do for a living. Maybe you love your job, and your job does require your physical presence. Maybe you're a consultant, maybe you're a coach or a sports trainer, or you work at a factory, or maybe you own a business. It's a small business and you got 30 employees and you're there every day and you love all of them and they love you. Maybe you love what you do and it's paying you excellently. But what about if you want to go on vacation? What about if you want to have kids? What about something happens to one of your kids? What if you have a family emergency? What if you get sick or injured and you cannot physically work? What if you just don't want to work there anymore? And the only way money comes in is if you're there. Well, if any of those situations happen and the only way you make money is by being there, then your money's going to stop, right? That's a problem. Hopefully, with this third point, there are a couple different things you can do. Because I'm not telling you not to work. I mean, there are good reasons to keep your feet on the ground and keep working. Talked about that in episode 182, why you should still trade some time for money all the time in life, no matter how much passive income you may be making, how much income you may be making without your physical presence. You should still always keep your feet on the ground and be around the people who you want to help so you can learn what's going on. Listen to episode 182 for that. But you want to make other paths to protect yourself. The same way I talked about in point number 2. One of them is you can put systems in place. So if you're running a business, you can put systems in place that can replace you. You want to completely replace yourself in your business, not so that you don't do anything and you don't ever show up and don't know anything that's going on, because that wouldn't be a smart thing to do either, because if something happens, you want to know what's going on. You want to have your toes on the ground, but you want to create the system so that when you're not there, or if you ever need to step away from your business, the system will keep working with or without you. And at that point, you can stop working in your business because the system is working in your business, and you can start working on your business like an owner does. A business owner should be spending more time working on his or her business than working in his or her business. When you work in your business, you're being the employee version of you, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. CEO you versus employee you, right? The CEO needs to see the overall picture of what's going on, while the employee has a specific job and they're doing that specific job. It's hard to be the CEO and the employee at the same time. And you can't maximize your output for either one when you have the job of doing both. So you need to figure out, any of you out there whose businesses, especially those of you who are service-based, I've talked about this many times. If you are working in a service-based business, even if you love it, even if it's going great, even if you are overflowing with clients and customers and your bank account's overflowing, you don't know what to do with all the money, understand that you don't want all your money tied to your physical presence, because if anything ever happens to your physical presence, your entire business collapses immediately. From, you know how Drake has the song 0 to 100, you will go from 100 to 0. All right, you don't want that to happen. So start figuring out ways that you can clone yourself, duplicate yourself and figure out what is it people are actually buying from you. They may not be buying your physical presence. They may not actually need you to be there. What they need is your knowledge. Maybe they need your insight. Maybe they need your program. Maybe they need your systems. And figure out, hey, how can I still get what they're buying to them without me having to actually be there to get it to them? Now, you may not think it's possible, but if you ask yourself the question, again, that's a how question. It's an open-ended question. It challenges you to think. You may come up with some ideas. And I had some other episodes where I've talked about that in the early 1100s, where I talked about codification, where I talked about delegation, where I talked about raising your prices. And again, I'm going to put all of those together into a business audio course. It's coming soon. Point number 4. Today's topic is important business principles that you need to know. Whomever owns your list owns your business. What is a list? I talked about a list in episode 1114, which is the question in episode 1114 is how much does social media matter to your business? Let me define what a list is for those of you who may not know. It is the contact information of people who are interested in you. Direct contact information. That's the key. Direct contact information. Their email address, their phone numbers, their address. That's a list. If you have email addresses, you have a list. You have phone numbers, you have addresses. That's a list of other people, not of yourself, of people who are interested in you, meaning they gave you that information. They are okay with you having it, or maybe you purchased it. There's still people out there who will purchase a list, or however you got it, you have a list of direct contact information of people who are interested in you, and they have given you permission to market to them in some way. Called permission marketing. Someone gives you their email address, they're giving you permission to market. Now they unsubscribe, now they're taking back that permission. They don't want it anymore. The only way you can talk, any of you who has a list, let's say that you think your list is, because I've heard people say this, that your YouTube subscribers are a list, or your Facebook followers, or people who are in your Facebook group, or your Instagram followers, they are your list. This is not true. The only way, if you have, I don't care how many followers you have, subscribers, whatever likes that you have on any of these social platforms, the only way you can talk to anyone who is following you on Instagram or on YouTube or on Facebook is how? You must log on to Instagram or YouTube or Facebook and say whatever it is you need to say. You can say it through a DM, you can say it through a brand new post, and no matter how much engagement, response, whatever that you get from it, the only way you can communicate with those people who are following you in that place is through that platform. So in other words, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook have become what? In business, we call that the middleman. And in case you didn't know, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are businesses, all right? And you're the customer, in case you didn't know that either. The only way you can talk to them is through them. They become the middleman, and the middleman is making all the money. Because that's the only way you can contact your audience, the people who like you, is by using them. But what if they decide to remove you? What if they decide that you can't contact them anymore? What are you going to do? You can't do anything because you don't own that list. They own the list. So they own your whole business. They own your list. They own your business. This is business 101. For anyone who's in online businesses, you should have understood this yesterday. Since so many online folks who are doing business invest so much time into these platforms, but they're not owning their list. Understand that you're not owning your business. The strength of your business is how many people you have on a contact list that you can reach right now directly. That means without having to go through a middleman, without having to go through Instagram, a YouTube, a Facebook, a Twitter, a Snapchat, because all of them, listen, the value of their businesses is the size of their list. I talked about this about a month or two ago. We're talking about why did Facebook spend $2 billion to purchase Instagram? It's not because they have a photo filtering app. All right, photo filters are pretty simple to create. All right, how many apps do you have where there are photo filters? All right, the iPhone itself, and I'm sure an Android also, has a photo filtering function built into the phone. All right, so Instagram's photo filters, or your ability to post a video, that's not what Facebook paid $2 billion for. Anybody could create that. One of us could take a course on coding, I suppose, and learn how to make a photo app that allows you to apply a filter. All right, that's not groundbreaking. Anybody can do that. What Facebook paid $2 billion for is the fact that Instagram has this list They have all of these contacts. And if you're not understanding that language, that means everybody who signs up for an Instagram account, what do you got to give them to sign up? You got to give them your name. You got to give them your email address. You got to give them your phone number. And then you can sign up. They give you permission to sign up by giving up all your information, your contact information. You have joined Instagram's list. You got an Instagram account, you're on their list. You got a YouTube account, you're on their list. You got a Facebook account, you're on their list. Imagine how big those companies' lists are. And that's why their business is so big. So if you ever wonder how big somebody's business is, just ask yourself, how big is their list? Or if you want to know, ask a person, how big is your list? If they'll tell you, they'll give you a good idea of what they're doing. If they have a big list, they probably know what they're doing. Point number 5. Oh, so let me tell you one more thing on point number 4. Get ownership of your list. All right, simple as that. Go get an email client where you can build your list and you pay them for the service. So they are not owning your list. You own it because you're paying for the access. You're paying for the fact that you own it. And that's another hint there. If you're using a platform that's completely for free, they're not charging you anything to use what they're offering. All right, there's a hook somewhere in there. Okay, there's no such thing as a free lunch, ladies and gentlemen. That's why business is the exchange of value for value. They're giving you all these tools to contact all of these people. What are you giving up to get it? You're giving up your contact information and you're giving up control of your business. You're giving up control of your list. There's a reason why it's free. Point number 5. Today's topic is business principles you need to understand. Value matters more than price. What is value? Value is what something is worth. A story creates value. The better your story, the higher the value. If you have a terrible story, then your value will be low. You have a great story, the value will be high. And this can be for the exact same product. In episode number 1212, the topic was price is a story. You want to get better at raising the value, the perceived value of anything that you offer, thusly raising the price, thusly you getting more money. You want that? Okay, you need to get better at telling stories. You need to get better at what the story is of your offering, of your product, of your service, whatever you're bringing to the table. When the story connects in the mind of your consumer, the value goes up, thusly the price can go up, and thusly they'll pay it because they understand the value. When you create and add and convey higher value, you raise and get your desired prices. So you want to raise your prices. One thing you could do is just change the numbers on your website. That'll raise the price. And the other thing you can do is increase the value of what you're offering by changing the story of how you're changing the story around whatever you're offering. Point number 6, today's topic, business principles that you need to understand. Understand that buyers are buyers and non-buyers, guess what? They're non-buyers. Guess which one you should have the majority of your focus. When I say buyers are buyers, I'm talking about people who will open up their wallets, take out their credit cards, and actually exchange money for whatever it is you're offering. Those people, we call them buyers. And the people who will not do that, they know there's something to offer, but they just will not make that exchange for whatever reason. Maybe just not with you, maybe because they want to buy, maybe because they're broke, they don't have any money. Whatever it is, a non-buyer is a non-buyer and a buyer is a buyer. If you are in business being the exchange of resources between people, your focus needs to be on the people who are buyers. And I'm not telling you to ignore the non-buyers. I'm not telling you to shun them or to attack them for not buying. It's cool to deal with the non-buyers. Listen, I've done a podcast since 2016. Feeding the non-buyers. All right? It doesn't cost you anything to listen to the podcast, or at least whatever amount of it that I want to share. It doesn't cost you anything. A YouTube video costs you nothing. A tweet, an Instagram post, those things cost you nothing, at least as of now. All right, there will come a day, I believe, when all of these platforms will allow you to charge for stuff straight up if you want to. But as of now, as of this recording, you can give to the non-buyers as much as you want. Because listen, a non-buyer may become a buyer when you make the right offer. Maybe your non-buyers are non-buyers simply because you're not selling anything. So they can't become buyers because you're not selling anything to them. Maybe they're non-buyers because your product sucks and it just doesn't look compelling enough. Maybe they're non-buyers because you have not properly communicated the value of what you're offering. Your story is no good, therefore the value is low. Therefore, people don't see any value in exchanging anything that they have for what you're offering because you're terrible at telling the story. We always bring it back to ourselves. And your non-buyers may become buyers if you change your offering, if you create an offering, if you are able to establish a higher level of value. But If you have buying options available and you believe the offer is good and you have some people who are buying it, who need it, then you need to serve your buyers more than you're serving your non-buyers. You know why? You have any idea why you should serve the people who buy from you rather than, or give them priority over the people who are not buying from you? Here's the main reason why you need to do that. And it's not because they already gave you money, because you already got the money. All right. The reason is buyers remain buyers. That means someone who's identified themselves as a buyer who will exchange their resource for your resource, they will do it again, as long as you offer them value again. It is much easier to sell to a current customer for you than it is to acquire a new customer. It costs a lot more money to get a non-buyer to become a buyer than it does to get a current buyer to become a repeat buyer. It's much easier to do something once you've already done it than it is to start doing something that you've never done before. What is this? The law of inertia. When you have already agreed to do something with a person, it's much easier to do it again and again and again than it is to get the first agreement to do something with a person. And every single one of us is a buyer in some way, shape, or form in our lives. All right. What device are you listening to this on? You bought it, right? Are you in your car right now? Are you paying for it? All right. Did you put gas in the car? Or do you have clothes on? Where have you made purchases? Usually you make those purchases over and over and over again. It's easier to buy from somewhere that you've already bought from than it is to make a new decision to buy somewhere you never bought before. And everyone that you buy from, hopefully they understand this. And if they're smart, they do understand it. You know what they're going to do? They're going to keep making offers to you over and over and over again. Why? Because they know who you are. They know you're a buyer. They know you're a person who purchases. So they're going to keep making offers so they can keep making money off of you. And they can keep giving you value that you are happy to exchange your money in order to get. All right, so it's not like they're not tricking you, they're not fooling you. You're happy to give your money because you're getting value. And they're happy to give you value because they're getting money. Everybody's getting what they want. Win-win situation. Point number 7. Today's topic is business principles that you need to understand. Number 7, there's nothing wrong with selling, as I just alluded to at the end of point number 6. There's nothing wrong with selling, people. Selling is the oldest profession in the world. The only people who will ever have a problem with you making offers meaning you're telling somebody you get this and I get this, selling. Only problem who have a problem with you selling, only people who have a problem with you selling are the people who are not buying from you. People who are not buying and they don't plan on buying, probably because they're non-buyers, at least when it comes to you. Everybody's a buyer in some way in life, but everyone won't be a buyer with you. Like, I'm a buyer when it comes to a good vegan meal. I'm a buyer when it comes to water ice, but I'm not a buyer when it comes to McDonald's. I'm not a buyer when it comes to an ice cream parlor. I'm not interested in those products or services. So an ice cream parlor shouldn't be marketing to me because I'm not interested. McDonald's should not market to me because I'm not interested. They already know I'm not interested. You know how they know? Because I've never bought anything there. And there's a whole bunch of people who are buying stuff there, and they put all their attention into the buyers. The non-buyers will find their way in. But if you keep paying attention to the buyers, you'll make more money paying attention to them than you will paying attention to the people who are not giving you anything yet and haven't given you anything to this point. The only people who have a problem with you selling are those who will never buy from you anyway. Do not listen to them. They are the vocal minority. You need to pay attention to the silent majority. Those who are so silent that all they got to do is type in their credit card numbers and push a complete purchase. All right, those are the people you need to be paying attention to. All right, there's nothing wrong with selling. They want you to sell them something. Because if you don't sell them something, you know what's going to happen? Somebody like me is going to sell them something, or one of your competitors is going to sell them something, or somebody who's made the product or the offering that you haven't made yet, you're taking too long, they're going to sell them something because you neglected to sell something. Episode number 701, the topic is why you can't sell to save your life. You want to get better at selling? Listen to that. Episode 625, how to sell without being salesy. You don't want to feel too salesy. You don't feel like you're trying too hard to sell to people. I don't know why. You should try hard to sell to people because the right people are going to buy from you no matter how bad your pitch is or how okay your product is, or if you feel like you're not that polished. The right person is going to buy from you regardless. They're going to come up with their own reasons to buy from you, but you got to make an offer. Episode 393, the people skills that you need in order to sell properly in life. Understand that selling is not just exchanging a product or a service for money. Selling is also just getting someone to agree with you, someone to see your opinion, someone to understand your point of view. All those are sales. Sales is the oldest profession in the world. It's also the highest paid profession in the world. If you want to be part of that highest paid profession, you must learn how to sell. You must lose your fear of selling. You must delete any stigma you have around selling. You need to stop feeling, I don't know, embarrassed or discouraged about the fact that you are selling. All right, people who make the most money in this world are salespeople. Mark Zuckerberg is a salesperson. What did he sell you? He sold you access to the largest phone book in the world, called it Facebook. Then he went and bought Instagram. Now he's selling you that. YouTube, salespeople, they're selling you an opportunity to basically create your own TV station. All of this is sales, ladies and gentlemen. Being able to access anybody in the world, social media sold that to you. And how many of those apps do you have on your phone? All of those are sales. It's the highest paid and the oldest profession in the world. Get familiar with it if you're not already. Let's recap today's topic, which is the most important business principles that I know. I will be soon putting all the business episodes into one package, into an audio course. Stay tuned. I'll tell you about it soon. Number 1, reinvesting in yourself and your business. Episode number 609 talked about the 5 forms of investment. Businesses grow when more investment is put into them. Time, money, and strategy usually all work together, and they are all required. Point number 2, you must make money more than one way. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Practical reason, if anything happens to one way, you got money to make another way. And you can diversify and make your businesses symbiotic, each one serving the other one. So just because you're making money 7 different ways doesn't mean you have to be in 7 different fields that are completely independent of each other. Make them work together so each one is serving the other one. And when you do well in one area, it actually helps you do well in another area. Point number 3. All your money cannot be tied to your physical presence, because if something happens to your physical presence, or you need to go somewhere with your physical presence, all of a sudden all your money stops because you can't be at work. Figure out ways to diversify the way that you make money. Put systems in place and ask yourself, where can I eliminate my physical presence from the equation but still give value to people? You can do that through one-to-many training, something I'm going to talk about soon again. Point number 4, whoever owns your list owns your business. The list is the contacts of people, email addresses, phone numbers, physical addresses of people who want to hear from you because they're interested in what it is you have to offer. Whoever owns that owns the business. Direct contact. I'm not talking about social media. In social media, you must use the social media platform to contact the people who are interested in you. They own your business. They own you. Because if anything ever happens to your relationship with that social media platform, they'll delete you. And guess what happens to all of your followers, all your subscribers, all your audience? Nothing happens to them. They're still there, which means you never owned it in the first place. This is business 101, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know it, now you know. Point number 5, value matters more than price. Value is what something is worth. Story is a value. Better stories equal higher value. Episode 1212, price is a story. You want to raise your prices? Get better at telling a story around your products and services. It creates a higher level of value. And when you create and add and convey more value, you raise prices and people will be happy to pay them. Point number 6, buyers are buyers. And non-buyers are non-buyers. When people know that you have an offer and there are people who are buying it and people who are still not, guess what? The non-buyers are just not going to buy anything from you. Maybe they'll change their mind one day, but you shouldn't waste your breath trying to change their mind. Let them change it on their own. Pay more attention to the buyers, simply because it is much easier to make a repeat customer out of a current customer than it is to turn a non-customer into a customer. All right, you can't turn a frog into a prince. Point number 7, there's nothing wrong with selling. Selling is the oldest profession in the world. It's also the highest paid profession in the world. The best paid people on this planet are the people who are best at selling. And people who are best at selling are best at creating stories about what they do. Refer yourself to episodes 701, 625, and 393. Work on your game. Dre all day.